Did you ever hear of Immortal Avenger?
No.
That was a band. Municipal Waste is like the speed metal band.
Yeah.
Immortal Avenger was the Europe was like the equivalent of like Europe. You know Europe, the band Europe?
Yeah.
Like, the guy had songs called Twilight Victory and shit, and he would be like, Twilight, like singing this like crazy high-pitched voice.
Yeah.
And like everything was about like Scottish myths of like, you know, like the ancient sword was dug from the burial ground of Jesus. And Jesus unveiled the sword. This sword. And he would like hold the sword in his hand. Be like, this sword represents the Twilight Victory. And then like the lead singer, no bullshit, he sang with like he had a band, an armband of bullets. Like he would rock 2 armbands of bullets and a sword, like a Conan sword. His entire set. So he'd be singing, and he'd be like, crashing, falling to the light, and shit like that. And like, yeah, and he would hold the sword. He'd be like, pointing to the people at night. And like, that's how he sang, like everything was very pronounced, you know?
Yeah.
He'd be like, rolling through the streets of doom, trying to perceive them through. And like, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden he'd be like, and everybody would be like, and like crazy guitar solos, like early Metallica shit or something. But that was their whole thing, right?
And that was Municipal Waste.
Yes, this is the exact same members of the band, except for the singers, different singers.
Okay.
And they were about, and Immortal Avenger got offered the tour and the record deal that Municipal Waste took. And the lead singer from Immortal Avenger wouldn't take the deal because he had to go on tour, and it interrupted his workout schedule because he was vegan, and he worked out his name was Metal Hubbard.
How did you know Municipal Waste so well? Like,
because I lived in Richmond, Virginia.
So you hung out with them, or like?
Yeah, I partied with them.
Oh, wow.
I DJ'd at all the house parties that all those guys went to. When
they
threw the bicycle events, fixed gear events, boathead events.
Wow.
All those events. I DJ'd every one.
I had no idea Richmond, Virginia had such like a vibrant like thing.
No.
It has pretty much, in terms of punk rock, not for parties, not for party scene, but for like rock music.
It's like, really into hardcore, and then it's also ghetto as fuck.
It's ghetto as fuck. So like we have bike rallies that last like a week, and like these kids will culminate on the day of, and they'll do like there's games. It's like the Olympic Games of biking, and like people would ride down the river in a boat and then pedal it to shore, and it turns into a bicycle. Like, if you show up at this event, they have like the chariot, 6-pack chariot, right? So you're on the back of the chariot, and it's a bicycle, a fixed gear, and they would weld a chariot to attach to the back of the bicycle. And 2 people would have to drink a 6-pack while they did this run, and whoever finished,
Wait, where's Richmond in relation to DC?
Richland, basically Reese.
Oh, like across the bay or whatever, or like?
The bay. There's no fucking bay.
Well, is it a river?
There's the Chesapeake Bay Bridge.
That's what it is.
No,
right.
It has nothing to do with that. Okay, so, wait, did you ever go to Virginia with me?
Richmond?
No. Well, yeah, one.
Richmond is central.
Okay, well,
All right.
there's DC
Richmond
and then
is slap
Northern
dab in
Virginia.
the middle of the
Okay.
triangle. So you take the triangle,
Richmond
is slap dab in the middle. 2 hours north is DC, 2 hours east is Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, like, another 2 hours to the other side is, like, West Virginia, Tap.
Exactly.
So it's kind of in the middle of its own thing. Like,
And it's broke shit. PBR costs $1 at the bar.
Yeah.
Standard.
No, and
What?
Like, if you try to charge more than $1 for
Uh-huh.
PBR at the bar, good luck. Even trying to sell PBR.
It was actually really, no, it was funny, like, last night at Friday night email was like, why is the beer only $2? I'm like, you could, or he was like, why is PBR $3 debonair? I was like, actually, most places it's $2. He's like, I do not understand. Should it be $5?
$5, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, the most expensive bar in the city that would have it would be like $4, maybe possibly $5.
Yeah, there's bars in New York where it's standard that a gin and tonic is $16.
Oh.
That's like the thing, that the
Not that
neighborhood
many
play at will be like $10, and that's probably the very high end of the city. Like,
But yeah, it's.
I don't fucking know.
Can you order like PBR and Schlitz?
But yeah, it's crazy because now I live in New York, and I'll walk around New York and I'll see guys in municipal waste T-shirts and shit.
What?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is crazy to me because that band is world famous.
There's actually this one dude who has this like 80s looking painter cap that the brim
I give him props.
that says municipal waste, and I kind of think he's the hottest guy in Chicago because of his municipal waste hat. Every time I see him.
I give these guys props because they're like the equivalent of me. Like, for rock music. Like, I'm serious because we came up at the same time.
Yeah.
I watched them go from doing house shows and doing nothing to being like, now people, they're like a brand name for kids that are into metal. And like for kids that are in the Baltimore club, I'm kind of a name for that, you know what I mean? So like, it's like, for me, I'm one of the only DJs and producers of club music to come out of Richmond, and they're one of the few like metal bands of contemporary times to actually come out of there and make a name. And it's crazy too, because when I see them, we nod at each other like in a way that like we both understand, like, yo, like Richmond, yo, we're all like way bigger than Richmond now, but like we still rap that like we're both kind of from there and we know each other.
Is there like a Richmond accent?
If you want to say like the way I talk.
No, you have that. You have Virginia accent. Actually, Christy does too.
Christy's is worse because she comes from a different area.
Where is she from?
She's from this peninsula that's like really, she's from the boondocks. She's from like a very
I can
small
tell.
community.
I can't really place it, but
Super
it's definitely Virginia, but I can't place it. I mean, do I have Virginia? I mean, I don't know. I don't
Virginia's
know
like, we say things like Maine instead of man. We're like, instead of hey man, we're like hey man.
But that's it. That's the only like thing.
No, we say a lot of things. We say our A's like ang. We say like we do our jumps like, it'll get hood like sometimes, like just like a draw like hood, you know, like anything, like the way I'll be like, you know, in Virginia, like, you know what I mean, just like you get a and like a little bit of a and like a you get these draws on certain, you get a draw, you know, because like with an A you just pronounce that A, like like the way I just said, like you get a draw, you know, like.
Well,
I'm from Connecticut. I'm from Connecticut, like, so I'm a Yankee, like at heart.
But Virginia's like exactly where the North and South meet, so it's like you get.
Capital, though,
yeah.
So it's like the hoodest. It's the most controversy, man. I lived
Really?
a block from the capital of where they would bring the slaves in and put them on the block.
Man.
And auction them off. Like, I literally, when I lived in Virginia, my last house before I moved was my next door neighbor was Edgar Allan Poe's house.
Wow.
Yeah, I lived next door to Poe Museum. Like, to Poe's museum. And his house was part of the museum, was his actual well-being. And like, yeah, like literally a block away, I would skateboard down one block, and you end up at the auctioning block where all the slaves were brought into the James River. And they were brought to Virginia, and they were put on the block, and slave owners came from all over the South to auction for slaves right there.
Man.
My old house was a tobacco warehouse.
Wow.
That's the main reason why I wasn't haunted. No real shady shit happened. Because tobacco warehouses weren't run by slaves.
Wow.
It was in the city. Slaves weren't really in the city so much. It was workers. It was like blue collar, almost unionized type shit.
Wow.
Slaves were out on the plantations.
See, like I'm from Arizona.
Which were about like, you know DJ Ayers?
Is
you ever heard
he?
of DJ Ayers?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, like Ayers, his name, you don't know where his name comes from?
No.
Ayers, his name comes from the name of the street that he lived on, which was Ayers Plantation.
Wow.
He's from Virginia too?
No, he's from Tennessee, and his name Ayers is a family name that comes from the street. That there's only one, his Ayers Road only leads to one place, and it leads off the main road to Ayers Plantation.
I did not know that.
Yeah, not many people do.
Actually
It ain't something you can talk about, but that's where he's from. He's crucial from the South.
He actually played here a few weeks